What's up guys, my name is Liam, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Arbiter Studio collab with Vancer on the Akitsu. This is a smaller size mouse with a full carbon composite body and an 8K polling rate. So how does it stack up against competition, and more importantly, is this going to be the perfect gaming mouse for you? Let's check it out. Before we get started, I did want to let you know this was sent out to me. However, everything you'll be hearing in this video is going to be my own words and my own opinions. I do want to share the unboxing experience with you really quick, since it does have a really cool aesthetic. You pull out this internal box that has this full carbon design. Over here on the right side, you do have a little manual and greeting card that gives you the instructions on how to operate the mouse. And then it does come included with a USB-C cable. It also comes with these a little bit larger style of corner skates. Dot skates do come pre-installed on it. And here's a close-up look of these grips. Really cool looking. They have this awesome design on it that matches the overall aesthetic of the mouse. And the quality on them, it does feel really good. They do feel rubberized and grippy. And here's a close-up look of the dongle that does come included. This is the same dongle that did come included with the Thrash and the Groove. And I said in that video how incredible this dongle is. It is without question my favorite dongle that is out there on the market. It does have a rubberized bottom, plug it in the back with the USB-C here, and it does sit at an angle with the LCD display facing towards you. Has a bunch of great information on the display itself, so you can see what polling rate, DPI, and stuff like that you're on the fly. This mouse just looks like artwork. I really love how they added this dragonfly look down on the bottom. Just the cutouts on this thing, everything looks very clean. You have the power button right here in the top middle to cycle it on or off. Over here on the left side, you have a button to control the DPI, and then this button over here on the right side allows you to adjust your polling rate. As you can see on the sides right here, it does have the raised up sides so that mouse 1 and 2 are not exposed. That is a huge plus for me, since I like to grip the mouse like this towards the front. I don't have to worry about pushing the buttons around as I'm doing so. And you can clearly see here that this is all pretty much one piece on this shell right here, even coming around the sides to the front. So the entire time that I've been using this, I have been very rough with it. I'm not getting any type of bending or flexing out of the shell at all with my normal grip usage. I did try and stress test this as much as I can, and to let you guys know, this is so solid that I don't get any type of bending here. I did notice one area that is right here. I get a little bit of bend there, but nothing major. If you move it just slightly back a little bit or slightly forward, it's just completely solid. I don't get any bending at all. And as I was going around and squeezing all around this, I did notice that if you squeeze really hard from the back, I am getting just a little bit of creaking there from the separation of the base and the top shell. But again, just to be clear, this is just me going around and trying to stress test it to the best of my abilities. The entire time that I've been using it and gripping it like I normally do in game, I haven't noticed any issues with the shell integrity at all. So really impressed with the fact that this is as lightweight as it is, has holes around. I really think they nailed the design. The feeling of this in the hands, you do notice kind of the carbon texture. It does feel like it's smoothed out a bit, so it doesn't feel like really rough or chalky or anything like that, but you do notice the texture on there. And when it comes to the coating, I don't feel any type of like additional rubberized or grippy coating on here, and I haven't had too much of an issue gripping this with the holes on the side. But I did notice that if I were to get kind of my hands wet, so if you get sweaty hands or something like that, the coating can be a bit more slippery. And my personal preference, I don't really care if this comes with a coating or not, because even when that mouse has holes on the side, even though you can see these holes, not that bad. They're very similar to the design on the final mouse holes, so they haven't been bothering me too much. But I do prefer to use the grips, so I am looking forward to applying the side grips to this mouse when I'm done with this review. They're using these custom Huano switches in here, and the click implementation on this honestly has been feeling really great for me. The one thing I did want to mention, however, is there's one minor issue I'm having with this mouse. I am getting a little bit of side-to-side play, and I wouldn't say it's like a major deal breaker for me or anything like that. It's just something that I am mostly noticing when I have my hand at a rest and you're just kind of planting your hand just on top of the mouse. You can kind of feel it almost wobbling back and forth a little bit there. With that being said, when I do actually compress the switch, that wobbling on mouse 2 goes away anyways, so I don't get any side-to-side play as I'm actually compressing the switch. That's not the case, however, with mouse 1. If I am trying to move it here in the center, you don't really get anything, but the more I come up in the front, is where you start to get a bit more of that movement there. But aside from that, the clicks on this does feel really good. I would say I get very minimal pre-travel and post-travel clicking here from the center. As you can see there, both on mouse 1 and 2, you do get a little bit more play up here in the front as per usual. And as you can see, you do make contact with the shelf. You're a little bit more aggressive up there, and mouse 1 does get a little bit more play. This isn't something that I've really noticed so much in game, but if I am being really rough with it, it does become apparent to me. But the overall click implementation from front to back, I would say is really solid. Just very little bit heavier back here in the rear, but they are still really easy to use, even clicking from the back. So no matter where you click them from, a pretty solid feeling all around. For the scroll wheel, I really do appreciate how they stuck to a rubberized ring on here. So it's been nice and grippy for me. When I got this scroll out of the box, it was actually pretty stiff. The steps on it have loosened up a little bit. I would say it's still just a little bit on the stiffer end, but you do get these lightly, a little bit more stiffer defined steps. And the click on the center scroll wheel is actually pretty stiff, definitely up there on the heavier end. And then lastly, when it does come to the side buttons, the one thing that did kind of throw me off about the side buttons when I first got this, as I've mentioned on my channel many times before, huge fan of the Final Mouse ULX Small and the Beast X Mini. So you can see these side buttons there. They are a little bit further back. Not a big deal, just something I had to get a little bit more used to. But the side buttons on these mice are flatter. And the one thing that was kind of interesting for me when I got this out of the box is that these side buttons are very pointy. Just something to get used to, but the overall side button implementation on here, honestly, it's really good. You get just very minimal pre-travel, even if you're clicking back here from the rear. So honestly, really good implementation all around. You do get a nice stop and a wall there on the post travel. So good pre-travel and post travel. Very little movement left to right there on the wobbling. So yeah, I tried to go over as much things as I could in detail for you guys to give you as much of an insight on how this feels. And aside from just the minor left to right that I'm getting on mouse 1 and 2, everything about this really does feel pretty solid to me. So let's go ahead and drop the click and quality sound check. When it comes to the weight and balance, everything about this feels really spot on to me. Solid front to back. Even left to right feels really good. The dot skates on here. Looks like we got it sitting at approximately about 40.2 grams on my scale. This also does have a web-based software, so nice and easy to use. You don't necessarily need to really use this, in my opinion, if you don't want to. The settings that mine came out of the box, it did come with a 0 millisecond to bounce click setting. So you can come in here in the software if you didn't need to adjust that. But all these other settings, for the most part, that I really use, you can really just adjust mostly from the dongle itself, as far as setting the liftoff distance, the DPI, and the pulling rate once you do get this out of the box. But with that being said, the software is really clean, simple, and straightforward to use. This is using a 3395 sensor, but everything about the performance on this has still been feeling fantastic. I tested all the polling rates, the 1K, 2K, 4K, and 8K. They're all sitting right under the 0.4 milliseconds click latency. So you are going to be getting some of the best and most top tier performance that is on the market when you're using this mouse. As I've already given it away, this is very similar to the Final Mouse ULX Small in a lot of ways. The one difference that I do notice about it, however, since I've used that mouse a lot personally, is the sides are a bit flatter, so it doesn't flare out as aggressively to the front. So the front of that mouse does feel a little bit more wide. And actually, while I'm talking about it, let's just go ahead and jump in here on the comparisons. As you can see, the final mouse is already a pretty flat mouse on the sides as it is, but you can see those curves there a little bit more aggressively out to the sides. Stacking these up next to each other, the grip width on these right in the middle there feels very similar. Even coming in and taking a look of the top profile, these both have a flatter profile. And as you can see, the curve from the top middle down to the sides, really not that far apart from one another. And just taking a final look of these on the side, as you can see, just the overall size and shape of these are very comparable. And then finally, while we're at it, I'll just throw it up really quickly to the WL Mouse Beast X Mini, since I'm also a huge fan of this mouse. And as you can see, kind of just the same thing over here, a little bit more aggressive curves on the Beast X Mini, but looking at these from the rear and on the sides, very similar in the overall scale and even pretty similar in the shape. Alright guys, so that about wraps things up on the Akitsu. And for those of you that watch my channel and seen me, I've mentioned in videos before that not the ULX small, but the Starlight 12 small before I even started my YouTube channel. I did actually main that mouse for about a year, and I've mentioned several times how I'm a huge fan of mice like the Beast X Mini. So the fact that this is just kind of right in line with exactly what I'm looking for in a gaming mouse, obviously I really enjoy this thing a lot. Performance of it, fantastic, top tier. I really do love everything about the design of it, the shell and the feeling of it. And like I've already mentioned a couple times, just the minor annoyance in the side to side on mouse 1 and 2. If they fix that up, this would be pretty much a near perfect style of a mouse to me. So really enjoying it a lot. I would have had no problem spending my own money on it. And if I did, I could truly say that I'd be really happy with my purchase. So if you do have any additional questions or feel like I left anything out, please let me know down in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed watching this video and are interested in seeing more videos like this in the future, please drop this video a like and subscribe to my channel. And thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.